With this week's show taking place in Dusseldorf, Germany, fans in the U.S. had a special start time of 2 p.m. Eastern. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Hey there! Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. Hello, friends. I'm your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Phenom, Michael Bullock. We got Monday Night Raw, we got NXT, and then I will run down the card for this Saturday's TNA Genesis pay-per-view. First, we talk about Monday Night Raw, which was, of course, Monday afternoon Raw. It had a special start time of 2 p.m. Eastern yesterday, and we all got to watch it live on Netflix. And it was live from the PSD Bank Dome in Dusseldorf, Germany. And of course, we had the obligatory recap video of last week's big show, with the primary focus being on the match between CM Punk and Braun Breaker. And then after the obligatory shots of people arriving at the arena, the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Io Sky and Rhea Ripley made their way to the ring. Rhea said it was a long road to the titles, but they finally beat the Kabuki Warriors to claim gold. Sky said Asuka and Kairi have no respect, but she and Ripley respect each other, and that's why they won. Ripley said they were going to issue a challenge to any tag team, but before she could finish her sentence, Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez came out to stake their claim at a title shot. It didn't take long for Bayley and Lyra to join the party. Pretty standard. The new champions have multiple people wanting a title shot segment. We've seen this kind of thing countless times before. It's an easy way to create multiple paths for the story to go. The Kabuki showed up and pulled the champions out of the ring before a huge brawl ensued. Sky and Ripley recovered and cleared the ring. Decent segment, but it didn't make any of the challengers look like a real threat. It's always good to make your champions look strong, but when you're trying to build a new feud, you need the challengers to look like they have the champion's number in one way or another. The segment failed to do that. In other words, revolving door segment. That's what it was. And nothing more to say except next week on Monday Night Raw. Well, actually, no, later in the show, rather. It set up a triple threat match. I'll explain when we get there, because there was a caveat for that. Let's get started with our first match of the night, which was making his official Monday Night Raw in-ring debut. Javon Evans goes one-on-one with Bravo Americano, a.k.a. Tyler Bate. And Javon Evans wins the match 6 minutes and 15 seconds. 2.5. That's the best I can go. Short match, but they made it entertaining with a handful of impressive spots. Evans looked great, but he was forced to retreat when all three masked men started attacking him. If this match had more time and Bravo was allowed to wrestle his own style, it easily could have been the best thing on the show. So, not much more to add on to that. 2.5 stars. That's the best I can do. So, not much more. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Javon Evans, victorious in his Monday Night Raw in-ring debut, defeating Bravo Americano in 6:15.
Yes, and hello everybody. As you can tell, I'm actually using a brand new microphone, so I hope this is coming out very well, crystal clear and everything else. Guys, can you tell me?
Oh yeah, it's crystal clear.
All right, beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful. All right, excellent. So I'm with you guys in this one. This is a 2.5 star bout. I thought they did a really good job with it. I thought at the end of the day, Javon Evans is going to look like a star. You know, ever since he came to the main roster, he has been looking like a major star. And I'm really impressed with everything that he's been doing. Yes, I totally agree with Anthony about, Bravo. If they would have given him more of a showcase here to really have him shine. But this is more about the Americanos trying to go after this rookie. And Javon Evans is proving why he is a big star in the making. So I think it was a solid way to do it for him, a good showcase for him. And to me, yeah, I totally agree with everything you guys said. So this is at least a 2.5 star bout. And Michael Bullock, I give it to you, my friend.
Yeah, this was a 2.5 star match. I mean, I would have loved to see Javon get a little more time. I mean, but obviously it's his first match. You don't want to. Well, his first match on the main. Well, as a member of the Monday Night Raw roster, you don't want to give him too much of a match. So, but all in all, I mean, I thought it was fine for what it was. So, 2.5 stars. So let's move on to the next thing, Florio.
Will do. Okay, after a commercial break, World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk came out to address the crowd following his successful title defense last week against Braun Breaker. Punk talked about being on the road to WrestleMania and how anything can happen. He mentioned Cody Rhodes losing the WWE Championship to Drew McIntyre this past Friday on SmackDown as an example. But he said he plans to be the champion forever and is moving past the vision. It looked like he was going to make this a short promo, but he got interrupted, not by a member of the Vision. He got interrupted by Finn Balor. Finn Balor came out to interrupt Punk before he could leave. He said he is not waiting for the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber to get his title shot. Punk said he has been waiting for Finn to take his shot, but he was too busy playing video games and shining Liv Morgan's shoes. He said he wanted to put the title on the line against Balor tonight, which got a loud pop from the crowd in Dusseldorf. Balor said he wanted to wait until but Balor said he wanted to wait until next week, when they are in his home country of Belfast, Northern Ireland. And CM Punk agreed, but said he will be the champion after next week. Well, MF, CM Punk, Finn Balor, next Monday, World Heavyweight Championship. Finn Balor gets the home country advantage. Whoa.
Yeah, he definitely does. I know some fans in Germany were a little disappointed because they were hoping for a world title fight here, but then Balor kind of calls audible and says, "No, we're not doing it there. We're doing it in my home turf, in Belfast, Northern Ireland." Now, WWE, I got a bone to pick with you. The whole show, you say Belfast, yet you put the British flag? I thought Northern Ireland has their own flag. Now, I know it's a Commonwealth or a territory of the British Empire. I get that. Fine. But I'm also sure that Northern Ireland is supposed to be linked somewhere in that part of the world. Please fill me in if I'm saying it wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I apologize to all the geography teachers out there. I was very good in geography. Anthony knows that I was a very solid student during my junior high and high school days. He knows I'm very solid with a lot of stuff. But I kind of felt like, why was the Ireland flag not represented here? And because that's the thing that had me like saying, what the F? Because I'm sure Northern Ireland, is supposed to have its own flag, if I remember correctly. So, why on earth did you not put it? You put the British flag just for junk and giggles? I'm like, no. Northern Ireland had their own flag. They got their own representation, and yet you basically just basically leave them in the dust. I'm like, that is so unfair to the Northern Ireland people. Put the freaking flag. Put the correct flag and everything else. You don't need to hide. Like, what are you doing, WWE? There's no right for you to put the Union Jack. You got your own, Northern Ireland has their own flag. Put it up. That's all I'm saying. That's the only gripe I had over this whole segment. I thought the segment was fine. I like that Finn Balor called the shot. Well, it wasn't that he called a shot. He got goaded into that match because Liv Morgan was saying, Finn, why are you not, like, me and Roxanne, we're calling our shot. We're going for the we're trying to become the women's tag team champions. Raquel Rodriguez is calling her shot. She's going after Stephanie Volker. Where the hell is you? What is your driven? What is your point of emphasis? Where's your, where's your chutzpah? What are you going to do? So he goes after CM Punk. So now he's going after Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Great. I'm cool with that. Unfortunately for Finn, and unfortunately for the fans in Belfast, Northern Ireland, I don't see CM Punk losing the heavyweight championship of the world. Not in this moment, not right now. This is not going to end well for Balor. However, did you notice something, gentlemen, throughout the night that there was some interesting picture running around on the internet? And you didn't just see it once. I saw it twice on Raw. And I'm like,
and also, Fletch, you noticed something that not CM Punk, Finn Balor said. He said, I don't have JD McDonough. I don't have Dom, but I'm not coming alone.
Yup.
What does that tell you?
I already know what that means. Could a certain
Dimelito. Could a certain demon return?
If it is, now here's the thing. If it's gonna be that, you gotta do this right, because the problem is that and I know when the demon showed up, it was bad news for anybody. It was the worst thing that could happen is when Balor went to the demon form, because every time he went demon form, it was like, oh no, it's about to go down. They ruined it when they did Demon versus Bray. But the thing was, the minute he popped and you heard that music go off and he just like levitated up, that was the demon in demon form. And I was like, ugh! My jaw hit the freaking floor, because I was like, oh my effing word. It's about to get ugly.
If that happens, CM Punk's going to be in for the fight of his life.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I'll even go one further. If they would have given him the true demon versus CM Punk, we're looking at a new world heavyweight champion, because Punk would not be able to overcome the demon. Demon Finn Balor is more indestructible than the regular CM Punk. I mean, the regular Finn Balor. Finn Balor is a man that, you never know how he goes. Demon Finn Balor, or the Prince Balor, is supposed to be indestructible. He's supposed to be otherworldly and immortal. If he came out, Punk, you could kiss your belt goodbye, because that's what the demon is supposed to be.
Yeah,
not anything else. If the demon was actually the demon, nobody stops him. Nobody stops him in wrestling.
Yeah, if you get regular Finn Balor, Punk retains. But if the Demon King shows up, I think you can forget about it. We're looking at a new world heavyweight champion.
That's how it should be, because that's how WWE should book them. I'm not saying
they have to do it. Happen. I mean, it's in Finn Balor's home of Ireland. They have to do this.
The problem is, I don't think they're gonna, and that's the thing, because it doesn't.
Well, if they're not going to do it, then what was the point of Finn Balor saying what he said?
Well, hold on. Wait a minute. Maybe it's not that yet. Maybe it'll come eventually. But I mean, I don't think we're getting the demon just yet. But he's just teasing it as a possible. I'm not saying he's gonna. I'm saying he's kind of teasing it for maybe down the line. So who knows? We'll wait and see. But yeah,
next week's going to be very telling.
I think what we're gonna get is either maybe Liv Morgan, or I think he's gonna bring one of the girls, because I don't think he's gonna bring the demon yet. The demon's coming at some point, but you gotta wait for the right moment to unleash the demon. Even though, yes, it's his home turf, I don't think this is a big enough event to do it. I would think maybe a Rumble or even WrestleMania. That's when you can unleash the demon. Right now, I don't think this is the right time or the moment to pull the trigger.
Well, we'll find out.
Not yet. Solid promo, Michael Bullock. It is yours.
Yeah, it's a solid promo, and yeah, I mean, I said what I said when it came to that whole thing, but next week's going to be interesting to see what happens with this when Finn Balor faces off against CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I pretty much said everything I said prior to it, so there's really nothing more for me to say, so it's yours, Florio.
Pretty straightforward segment, but that worked to its benefit. This is a match a lot of people want, so they didn't need to take a complicated route to get there. Finn Balor and CM Punk did a great job creating hype for this quickly. So, not much more to say. So, all right. Next up, this was the big women's match here. Triple threat, number one contenders match. And in this match, we had Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez versus the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. And the winners of this match will challenge Rhea Ripley and Io Sky for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships on Saturday night, January the 24th, in Montreal, as part of the next Saturday night's main event. And the winners of said match, 12 minutes and 40 seconds, Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. They get the title shot. Michael Bullock, 12:40, the time of the fall. Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, they win the match. They get the first shot at Rhea and Io in Montreal on Saturday night's main event, January 24.
Yeah, and Rhea and Liv Morgan are going to be in the same ring once again. I mean, it's a rivalry renewed with these two. So, yeah, I'm going to give this about maybe 3.25, teetering on 3.5. I mean, this was a solid match here, and obviously, I mean, Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, now they get the opportunity to try to bring the gold back to the Judgment Day with the women's tag team titles. So we'll see what happens come Saturday night's main event. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
3.25, teetering on 3.5. More so 3.5 for this one. All 6 of these women are known for being good performers, so it came as no surprise that they worked well together to put on a fun match. Kairi Sane was definitely a standout, both for her in-ring ability and for her charisma. Even when she was not the legal competitor, she was doing something to make the match more entertaining. All six women participated in several spots involving multiple competitors, but the action got away from them, and the referee had to remind Asuka that there was no tag when Kairi Sane tried to pin Liv Morgan at one point. Other than that awkward moment, this was a solid performance from everyone involved. Liv Morgan scores the win for her team by pinning Kairi Sane with the Oblivion. 3 people trading pins the way they did in the beginning never makes sense. You know it's going to get broken up, so it always feels like one of those sequences that never leads to anything. And WWE seems to have toned down the mood swing part of Bayley's character, which is probably for the best. It was a questionable storyline to begin with, but it also didn't seem to be going anywhere. And why would Bayley hold on to her own partner for the double German suplex? That made no sense. But other than that, I thought it was a very good matchup here. This was a solid 3.5-star match. So sets up a very interesting women's tag team title match as part of Saturday night's main event. So not much more. MF, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez winning this match in 12 minutes and 40 seconds, they're going to Saturday night's main event. They're going to Montreal as the first challengers for Rhea and Io.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting matchup. And if you're Liv Morgan, you're thinking, here we go again, my old nemesis, Rhea Ripley. And this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Look, there is so many teams out there that if Rhea and Io get by them, then you got 4, maybe 5 of the tag teams on both Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown that's looking at this match very intently. So, I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but this is going to be a very interesting match. This is a 3 to 3.25 star bout. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Michael Cole conducted an interview with Raquel Rodriguez on the stage. He said he was surprised to see her stoop so low as to attack an injured champion last week. Rodriguez said she is tired of waiting around and getting screwed out of the title. Stephanie Vaquer showed up and security made Rodriguez leave, but she returned a few moments later and attacked the champion again. She slammed her injured leg into the concrete floor before finally leaving. This was a short segment that repeated the same story beats as their previous encounter, but it also kind of worked. Having Rodriguez continually attack an injured champion will do one of 2 things. We will either see Rodriguez end this story as the champion, or it will lead to Vaquer looking like a fighting champion who could retain the title even when the odds are stacked against her. So not much more to say on that. A lot of backstage stuff, and then it leads us into our next matchup, tag team action. Bronson Reed and Austin Theory of the Vision. Paul Heyman and Logan Paul in their corner. They squared off against Penta and Dragon Lee. Penta and Dragon Lee win the match via disqualification in 9.5 minutes. But then afterwards, we had some big time fireworks here. Braun Breaker shows up, and he took out Penta and Dragon Lee, and he was going for one of his run around the ring spears, and then standing in his way was Raw General Manager Adam Pearce, and they exchanged some words outside the ring, and unbeknownst to Adam Pearce, Bronson Reed lays somebody out with a tsunami, and that brings Adam Pearce into the ring, and he goes off on Bronson Reed for the attack, and then Reed and Pearce exchange words. Braun Breaker hits another spear, and then Adam Pearce puts his hands on Braun Breaker, screams in his face, a la angry Adam Pearce, and then Braun Breaker, he puts his hands on Adam Pearce, literally gets in his face, and then after that, it leads to a backstage segment where Adam Pearce indefinitely suspends Braun Breaker. But then Paul Heyman said, Mr. Pearce, with all due respect, you put your hands on Braun Breaker first. And when he said that, MF just goes absolutely crazy on commentary saying, he's right. He is absolutely right. And then if anybody should be indefinitely suspended, let alone fired, it should be that stooge, Adam Pearce. Heel commentary moment for MF.
Well, and you even heard Michael Cole said, Heyman's got a point.
But and it's funny too. I'll bring it up in 1 minute, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get to the match here. This was about a 3 to 3.25 star match. Penta and Dragon Lee are both gifted performers. Bronson Reed is one of the best big men in WWE, and Austin Theory is a young star who is yet to reach his full potential. So there was more than enough talent in the ring to make this a good match. It followed a predictable pattern, but the way it ended was surprising. As Lee was celebrating at ringside after a successful move, Breaker appears out of nowhere and speared him. Breaker and the Vision continued their assault despite Adam Pearce trying to stop them. He got in Breaker's face, and it took everyone in the Vision to hold Breaker back from beating up the Raw General Manager. Heyman tried to talk everyone down, but Pearce told them all to get out of the building. And when the show returned, Adam Pearce suspended Braun Breaker indefinitely. And, well, a lot of things to come out of this. And like I said, a 3 to 3.25 star match. And, well, what does that mean in the context of the story with Adam Pearce and Braun Breaker? I mean, Pearce technically put his hands on Breaker first, and Breaker had every right to defend himself. And I am an Adam Pearce guy. You guys know this. I mean, I consider Adam Pearce the second greatest general manager of Raw, only behind Mr. Eric Bischoff. But that was an insane segment. I know we have a lot to say, but let's go one at a time here. Let's start with MF here. So segment was, 3 to 3.25 stars for the match.
Agreed.
But what happened afterwards? Whoa.
Yeah. So
not much more to say. MF, like I said, funny heel commentary moment out of you. And, well, 3 to 3.25 for the match. But like I said, the post match is what we're all talking about.
And the funny thing is that I had a conversation with my father last night, and we were saying the same thing. We talked about that moment. We were talking about that moment, and the funny thing was that came up. That moment, that particular moment came up, and I'm like, look at the tape again, and definitely watch it. Pearce initiated first, and my dad was saying the same thing. He's like, well, he justified the suspension. He's like, that, you can't put your hands on an official of WWE, and you can't do that. And Heyman brought up about the thing, and I'm like, he's right. He's like, what? And he's like, he's right. Remember, Pearce shoved Breaker first, and Breaker, it snapped because of it. Technically, Adam Pearce is quote unquote effed, is what I said. He's in trouble now, because now if Paul Heyman wants to, he can go up the ladder, talk to Triple H, and like, yo, your general manager just put his hands on one of your wrestlers, making it an unsafe working environment. If you review the tape, it was Pearce who initiated the contact first. And that was exactly the point that I made during that heel commentary moment, is like, you can review the tape, and you saw that it was Adam Pearce that put his hands on Braun Breaker first, and the whole 9 yards. And it was, and yeah, and I did call him a freaking stooge. And now he is a bigger stooge for doing that, because now you may have just cost yourself your job, Pearce. Your little hot-headedness may have cost you big time now. Either you lift the suspension of Braun Breaker, or you're going to lose your job. Take your pick, is what I say. So this was a 3.25 star bout. And oh yeah, me, Florida, and Michael Bullock had a lot of fun with that segment yesterday. No doubt. It was definitely one of the highlights of 2026. 13 days into the year, and we had a highlight reel moment. We'll say that. Bullock, is yours.
Yeah, 3.25 for the match, but yeah, the aftermath was the one that everyone's talking about. With the spearing continuing, and then Adam Pearce basically just had enough, and he grabbed Breaker and just lost it, and then Breaker put his hands on Pearce, and I was like, oh boy, this guy's going to be in big trouble. And I said many times before, when Breaker gets in that mode, sometimes he may do something he'll regret, and unfortunately he did, and that's when afterwards, when Pearce suspended him, and then as soon as Heyman's like, with all due respect, you were the one that put your hands on Breaker first when you grabbed him and spin him around. So And guys, you know what my saying is. 2 wrongs don't make a right. I mean, superstars shouldn't be putting their hands on officials. But what is the other thing that we also say, Fletch, when it comes to that?
Officials shouldn't put their hands on superstars.
No authority figure should have the right to be physical with their own talent.
And that's why I say 2 wrongs don't make a right. I mean, yeah, Pierce he's got some explaining to do. Like you said, if Heyman wants to, he could go to Triple H or anybody else in management and say, hey, Adam Pierce put his hands on one of my guys when you're not supposed to do that. Just like the same way when superstars shouldn't be putting their hands on officials. So you need to do something to fix this problem. Either have Adam Pierce lift the suspension of Braun Breaker, or if he doesn't do that, you fire his ass. And Adam Pierce is going to have a tough decision to make. And if he's smart, which I think he is, he'll do the right thing. We'll see what happens next week, but oh boy. Adam Pierce is a hothead, but I think his hot-headed temper might cost him his job. We'll see what happens.
And Bullock, of course, that's what we say professional. That's what we say professionally. But personally, I mean, we couldn't do our Raw chat because I had work commitments beyond my control and all that good stuff. But if we had our Raw chat, Bullock, I guarantee you and I would have had a laugh riot at Adam Pierce's latest angry tirade because we know how much we love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, but in this case, personally, like I just said, he may have done something. It could cost him his job. So we'll see what happens. But I think
you're cool. You either lose the match or you lose your job. Simple.
Exactly.
So that's a hook. That's a hook for next week.
Yeah, next week's gonna be very, very telling to see what the fallout is from this.
And speaking of next week, let's set the table. Next Monday, it's going to be another Monday afternoon Raw on the Martin Luther King Day holiday. Another special start time. This time it'll be an hour later. This time it'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern on Netflix. Monday Night Raw from Belfast, Northern Ireland, with 2 huge championship matches already. Of course, the aforementioned CM Punk versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. And on top of that, we're going to get the rubber match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree one more time. So Maxine got one. Becky got one. This is the rubber right here. So that's it for that. And we get into our main event of the evening. The phenomenal AJ Styles one-on-one with the Reign General Gunther. Winner of the match in an even 18 minutes. It is Gunther. But MF, this did not come without controversy, though. AJ Styles had the calf crusher. Gunther clearly tapped out. But the thing is, referee Rod Zapata did not see it.
Yeah, and the thing was, because the referee was out of position, way out of position. Gunther was able to sneak by and put it in a position and in an area where the referee cannot see the tap out. AJ shoots up and like, yeah, I got to tap out. I got to tap. He tapped. And the referee's like, I didn't see no tap. Now, again, unfortunately, in this situation, the referee's decision is final. And you cannot go back to instant replay. You cannot go back and take a look at this. AJ did win the match. Like, there's no doubt about it. We saw the tap out. We saw it on another angle that another camera did catch it. But the thing is again, this was AJ's mistake. You should have kept the pressure going until or make sure that if that calf crusher was locked in, don't say that, don't say, oh, I got the tap out. No, you keep the calf crusher on and you make sure the referee sees the tap out before you let go of the move. So it's one of those type of situations where you see the tap out, but again, AJ felt it and it was like, oh, I got it. That's it. No, you can't do that, AJ. And that's what cost them the fight. Then, obviously, the low blow by Gunther because the referee was talking to Alicia Taylor saying, no, it's not a tap out. I didn't see a tap out. This fight continues. Well, we saw what happened next on that one. 3 stars for the main event. It was a solid matchup. Unfortunate that's how the match ends. So you got to think a rematch is definitely within the cards. They got to run this back now because AJ can say, hey, I had a tap out victory more than anything else. I deserve Gunther one more time. And I'm pretty sure Adam Pearce will give him that match. So nothing more to say, Michael Bullock. It's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to give this about maybe a 3 1/4 on this one. I mean, this was a solid main event. Unfortunately, we did have controversy. And like you said, I mean, AJ Styles, I mean, he had the calf crusher on, and Gunther did tap out. We all saw it. But unfortunately, the most important thing is the referee did not see it. I mean, AJ felt it saying, yeah, he tapped out it, but Rod Zapata was like, no, I did not see it. I did not see it. And AJ was telling him, no, come over and I want you to ring the bell. But he's like, no, I didn't see it. And he was telling Alicia Taylor, I did not see a tap out. The match must continue. And while that was happening, Gunther hit him with a low blow and then hit his finisher. It was over. So technically, AJ Styles should have been declared the winner, but in reality, Gunther is the one that's going to get credit for the victory because the referee needed to see it. And like you said, he was out of position. So I hate to say it, guys, but that's just bad officiating on the part of Rod Zapata. I mean, but you also made a good point, Fletch, that if he had just kept the calf crusher on and to the point where the referee can get in good position where he could say, I did see him tap out. But because Zapata was out of position, he didn't see it. But you could also, even Wade Barrett said, maybe Gunther outsmarted both AJ Styles and the referee. So he could tap out in a place where the referee wouldn't see it. So yeah. And AJ Styles is going to demand a match, a rematch. And quite frankly, he does deserve it. But, Gunther being the most unlikable guy right now, you know what he's probably going to say, guys? He's probably like, no, I'm done. I'm not going to waste another second with you. I beat you fair and square because the referee didn't see anything. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with you. But Adam Pearce is probably going to be like, no, Gunther, I did see what AJ Styles said. And therefore, he is going to get another shot at you. So, we'll see what happens next week. So, nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours. So, yeah, we got controversy at its hands. And technically, AJ Styles should have won the match. But in reality, it's Gunther.
Unsurprisingly, these two veterans put on a great show. They made sure to sell all the big spots while also keeping a brisk pace that made both men look like tough competitors. This is a combination that could have been a great world title feud during Gunther's reign, but they only ever fought on house shows. Gunther broke out of the calf crusher again by slamming Styles' head into the mat several times with a phenomenal one, locking in again. Styles thought Gunther tapped and released the hold, but the referee did not see it. Gunther hit a low blow while the referee had his back turned, which led to him hitting the powerbomb for the win. The way this ended was a little confusing since the camera didn't show Gunther tap, but we got a better angle of it after the bout was over. I think you guys underscored this thing a little bit. This was easily 4 stars, teetering on 4.25. This was definitely the fight of the night. And that's all there is to say about it. So definitely a rematch is in the works. We'll figure out when that is. So there's not much more to add to it. So 4.25 for me. So with that being said, I believe it's Michael Bullock who starts off our overall review. Let's quickly get into it, guys, and then we'll get into NXT here. So Michael Bullock, you're up first with the overall review.
Overall, I thought it was a good show. Or should we say it's solid, but not overly spectacular. So I'll give this about maybe 7 to 7.5. So what's yours, Florio?
Yeah. Monday's Raw from Germany was a pretty down-the-middle episode, but it had a couple of highlights worth noting. The women's triple threat tag match was a lot of fun, and Javon Evans had an entertaining encounter with Bravo Americano earlier in the show. However, the main event was the best thing on the show. Even with the wonky ending, AJ Styles and Gunther put on a great performance that proved WWE should have paired them up for a feud sooner. With Saturday night's main event and the Royal Rumble right around the corner, WWE is about to enter its busy season. Let's hope it has some surprises in store along the road to WrestleMania. 7.5. I agree with Bullock's rating. MF, quick thought, and then we'll get into NXT.
7 to 7.5. Absolutely. You're correct with everything that went down. And Anthony, let's just move on to NXT.
NXT. The fallout from New Year's Evil. Last week, Obafemi vacated the NXT championship so he could head to the main roster. So general manager Ava addressed the future of the title on tonight's show. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's show. Of course, the obligatory recap video of New Year's Evil. Before we went live in the arena with Ava holding the NXT championship, she said Obafemi relinquished the title. We saw most of the men's roster surrounding the ring, but one man felt the need to have his own entrance. Ricky Saints made his way out and said he should still be the champion and seemed to think Ava should just hand him the title. Ava said there would be qualifying matches next week to determine who would fight for the NXT championship on Tuesday, February 3rd. That's in 3 weeks. February 3rd in a 6-man ladder match. Huge brawl broke out for no reason, but it was kind of fun to watch one of the Evolve stars throw people around and powerbomb someone through the announce table. All in all, this segment could have been an email. Keanu Carver from Evolve made the biggest impression as the last man standing in the ring, but a lot of fans in the arena were probably confused about who was beating everyone up. And when we do the house cleaning later in the show to set up for next week's show, I'll let you know the first 2 qualifying matches. Not showing Obafemi relinquishing the title and just cutting to the belt in the ring felt like lazy writing. Ava needs a hook. She needs something to make her stand out. She feels too generic as an authority figure right now. But, it is what it is. So that's the story, gentlemen. February 3rd, we're going to have a 6-man ladder match. And the winner of that match will be the new NXT champion. Any, you guys want to give a quick thought on this, or?
I think we can just move on, Anthony.
Okay. We'll let you know who the first 2 qualifiers are for next week when we do the house cleaning. First match of the night. Lola Vice, 1-on-1 with Kalani Jordan. Lola Vice wins the match, 11 minutes and 26 seconds. Okay. Lola Vice. All right. They kept the pace quick, tried to make this feel like a personal rivalry with their aggression. Lola had a power and striking advantage, but Kalani had her beat with speed and agility, so it felt like an even fight, which made it hard to predict. Not being able to tell who is going to win ahead of time always makes a match more engaging. The quick pace led to a couple of moments that did not look great, but most of what they did in this match worked. Vice and Jordan are two bright young stars who are still growing, so it will be interesting to see where both are in their journey a few years from now. They did a good job keeping the crowd invested, and both women came close to winning at different points, but it was Lola Vice who ended up scoring the win with her brutal spinning back fist. 3 1/4, teetering on 3.5. Not much more. MF, Lola Vice defeating Kalani Jordan 11-26.
Yeah, this was a solid match. This was about a 3-star bout. I thought they did a fine job with it. At the end of the day, I thought the right person won. So I really got nothing more to add. And Michael Bullock, it's yours.
What was the time of the poll?
11-26.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe a 3 1/4 star match, but yeah, Lola Vice getting the win here and basically laying her stake to the Women's North American Championship. So we'll see where it goes for her. So nothing more to say. So let's move on.
All right, what's NXT without cutouts, right? This is the only way a championship match would be a cutout because it's the Speed Championship, aka the title that none of us really give a crap about. Jasper Troy defending against Tavion Heights. Jasper Troy successfully defends the title in 4 minutes and 8 seconds. Let me just do a quick thing here. It was obviously a quick match by design, but it was better than most of the speed matches we've seen on NXT. Jasper Troy looked good, but Tavion Heights was the star of this one. Tavion Heights is definitely a future champion in his own right. So there's not much more to add on to that. So we're just gonna bypass that. A lot of backstage stuff here. We announced that there's going to be another triple threat women's tag team match. I'll explain that when we set up the house cleaning. A promo from a vignette for Elio LaFleur, and then Ethan Page had a moment with Ava, and Ava announced who Ethan's next challenger will be. That's also part of next week's show. And then we had the promo segment. Blake Monroe out to talk about what happened recently with the North American title. She lost a few weeks ago to Thea Hale, who in turn lost it last week to Izzy Dame at New Year's Evil. Blake Monroe said she may have attacked Thea Hale before their scheduled match, but she shouldn't have even had to compete for her own title in the first place. She claims she is the most complete woman in NXT, and the only reason she is not the champion is because she lost her patience last week and got kicked out of the building. Jada Parker got a nice pop when she came out to interrupt the promo. They barely said 2 words to each other before a fight started. Parker took out Monroe with a running hip strike to end the scuffle. The promo portion of this segment was pretty standard stuff from Monroe, but she did well enough with what she had. Parker coming out injected some energy into the segment at the end. So Blake Monroe and Jada Parker, gentlemen, definitely on a collision course. Now we can finally get into something relevant here. The TNA International Championship. On the line, the champion, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, with his fiancée, Ariana Grace, in his corner, defending against LFG Season 2 men's winner, Shiloh Hill, prodigy of The Undertaker, of course. And the winner of the match in 10 minutes and 39 seconds, and still the TNA International Champion. It is Channing Stacks Lorenzo. I believe it's MF who starts off on this one. So MF, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, still the TNA International Champion, defeating Shiloh Hill in 10:39. That naughty little minx, Ariana Grace, the difference maker.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, this was at least a 3.25 star match. It could have been higher, but because of the interference, I'm going to punish it a little bit. But it was still a solid matchup, to say the very least. Yeah, this was a back and forth battle, but Stacks deserves to keep the title. He's been really good. His what he's been doing right now is the perfect foil, and I know Santino secretly is not happy to see that his future son-in-law is still the TNA international champion, but we'll see what happens there down the line. Eventually he'll lose the belt, but right now this is a very good storyline that they're telling. 3.25, Michael Bullock, it's all yours.
The time of the fall.
10:39.
Yeah, I'll give this about 3.25. I mean, obviously, the outcome was never in doubt. Obviously, thanks to Ariana Grace sticking her nose where it didn't belong. So, yeah, there's really not more to add on to it. So it's yours, Florio.
3.25 stars. Shiloh Hill has been a very weird character since he was introduced, but he has tried hard to make it work while also looking decent in the ring for his first few outings. Even if the match was a little forgettable, they had a few fun moments sprinkled in to make it entertaining. With a little help from Ariana Grace, Stacks was able to reverse an inside cradle to get the pin and the win. The ending was a little sloppy, but they made it work. So that's all there is to say on that. 3.25 stars. I agree with that. And some more backstage stuff. Kelly Kincaid interviewing Ricky Saints about how he thinks the title should be handed to him. Saints mocked Kincaid and said she sounds like a biased journalist. Saints said he should not have to qualify for a title match. And he claimed that Ava caused him to bypass the qualifying match and he can sit front row to qualifying matches. So Ricky Saints is the first of the 6 men to qualify for that 6-man ladder match for the vacant NXT championship in 3 weeks on Tuesday night, February the 3rd. So that then brought out the new NXT Women's North American Champion, Izzy Dame, by herself. No Shawn Spears, no Nico Vance. Izzy Dame came out to talk about winning the Women's North American Championship last week. She asked the crowd why they were happy to see her lose to Tatum Paxley last week. She said she has been watching how everyone in NXT works so she could use it against them. Dame said losing to Paxley gave her clarity and helped lead to her becoming a champion. She mentioned a few names that she knows want a title shot, but she also said they don't know what they are walking into. Tatum Paxley came out and rushed the ring to attack Izzy Dame, but security held her back so the champ could escape. Tatum Paxley hits a referee, and the announcers mentioned that it would cost her. The segment just sort of ended without any resolution. The promo from Izzy Dame was kind of bland, which is unfortunate because she is usually good on the mic. Paxley coming out at the end was predictable, but it did make the crowd happy. And that's all there is to say on that. Next week, we got a bit of a loaded show for next week's show. Here are the qualifying matches. In the first qualifying match, it's going to be Josh Briggs squaring off against Shiloh Hill. And in the other qualifying match, it'll be Sean Legacy versus Eli Knight. Also, North American Championship on the line. Ethan Page is going to defend it against making his NXT in-ring debut, Elio LaFleur. And then, triple threat, women's tag team match, number 1 contenders, Zarya and Sol Ruca versus Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray versus Fallon Henley and Laney Reed of Fatal Influence. The winners of that match will become the number 1 contenders to the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championship. So that's a big show next week. Main event of the evening, Joe Hendry with OTM, Lucian Price, and Bronco Nima in his corner, squaring off against Dion Lennox with his Dark State brothers in his corner. No disqualification match. And the winner of the match in 13 minutes and 24 seconds, it was Joe Hendry. So, but it was not because of OTM. It was because of Tony D'Angelo. But he laid out both Dion Lennox and Joe Hendry, but he put Joe Hendry on top of Dion Lennox for the cover and the win. So, Michael Bullock, started with you here. Say his name and he appears. Joe Hendry defeats Dion Lennox. No disqualification match, 13-24. Tony D, the difference maker, not OTM.
Yeah, 3.5 stars for the match. I mean, like you said, Tony D is the reason why Joe Hendry wins. But after the match, I mean, Tony D, well, of course, Ava brings in security to try to get rid of him, but he attacks the security. So I don't know what's going on when it comes to Tony D. So he's got a lot to say. Well, hopefully, when he'll talk about it, that's the main question. So it's yours, Florio.
3.5 for the effort. It took a lot longer for the people at ringside to get involved than expected. When it first started, it almost felt more like a lumberjack match at first because both men were trying to avoid being tossed out near their opponent's allies. It took a lot longer for the people at ringside to get involved than expected, which was not necessarily a bad thing because it allowed the focus to remain on Joe Hendry and Dion Lennox in the ring. First, it looked like Lennox was going to win. Well, at first it looked like Henry was going to win, but then Dark State pulled Joe Hendry out of the ring. And then when Dion Lennox looked like he was going to win, OTM pulls him out. And then Dark State and OTM fought each other until they were all backstage, leaving Henry and Lennox one-on-one. And then that's where Tony D shows up, and that's that. Solid match. By default, the fight of the night, even though it was not, not the greatest match, but it was fine for what it was. 3.5 stars. That's really all there is to say on that. So, MF, your thoughts? Joe Hendry winning in 13-24. There's no DQ match because of Tony D.
Yeah, 3.5 stars. You're absolutely right with everything you just said. So really nothing more to add. So Anthony, let's just go into overall review.
Yeah. Not really all that good, to be honest with you. Tonight's NXT was a normal episode on paper, but it felt like it lacked something big to get people interested in seeing it. The Speed title is not established enough to make people care. And the main event, while entertaining, did not have enough big names to draw an audience. None of the matches really stood out as memorable, but Henry versus Lennox was in the main event had enough entertaining moments to make it worth watching. There are not any big shows on the horizon for the Black and Gold brand, so it needs to start making the weekly episodes feel special again. One of the weaker episodes of NXT in recent memory. So let's hope things turn around next week. Too many promo segments. None of them were really eventful, to say the least. But we did get 3 good matches, though. So if you press for time, I suppose Ava's announcement, I guess. But the 3 matches, go out of your way to see Lola Vice and Kalani Jordan, the International Championship with Stax and Shiloh Hill, and the main event with Joe Hendry and Dion Lennox in the no DQ match. Middle of the road show, 5 out of 10. That's the best I can go. So, MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, total agreement. 5 out of 10. It was a 50-50 show. Nothing more to add. Bullock, you got final say for tonight.
Yeah, 5 out of 10 for me. Not much more to say. So, Florio, let's get into your quick preview of the TNA Genesis event.
Yeah, TNA Genesis will be live this Saturday night on pay-per-view from the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas. And I can honestly say, when it comes to this card, I mean, 2 of the 3 matches, 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 it's not all that exciting. It feels more like one of those TNA monthly special cards. It doesn't have the feel of a big event, let alone your first big pay-per-view of a new year. But here's what we got. The final match in the career of Johnny Dango Curtis. His retirement match. He's going to go one-on-one with his fellow system brethren, Eddie Edwards. Then we have Elijah one-on-one with Mustafa Ali. AJ Francis one-on-one with Rich Swann. But we do have some interesting championship matches, though. We got Leon Slater or Myron Reed, because they're going to square off for the X Division title this Thursday night as part of that huge live Impact, the debut of Impact on AMC. Leon Slater or Myron Reed versus Cedric Alexander and Moose, three-way match for the TNA X Division Championship. The TNA World Tag Team Championships on the line. The Hardys will defend against Vincent and Dutch of the Righteous, formerly of AEW. They're now in TNA. So what a big moment for the Righteous. Easily their biggest match. Lei Ying Lee will defend the Knockouts Championship against Danny Luna. And in the main event, Frankie Kazarian or Mike Santana will defend the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against, it'll be Frankie Kazarian or Mike Santana or even Nick Nemeth, because Nick Nemeth has that Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy. He said he's going to cash in after Kazarian and Santana battle it out for the title on Thursday night against a to-be-determined opponent. So not one of the better pay-per-view cards that I've seen in a long time. But we'll see what happens come Thursday night on that debut of Impact on AMC. That'll be very telling to see what happens. So with that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you again on Friday night, right back here on the Tone 25, 11 p.m. following SmackDown, TXN Sports World NFL Friday, divisional playoffs. The Buffalo Bills versus the Denver Broncos, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks, the Houston Texans versus the New England Patriots, and the Los Angeles Rams versus the Chicago Bears. We will preview all four of those games. And on top of that, we will also preview the College Football Playoff National Championship game that will go down next Monday night. The number 10 Miami Hurricanes at home, at their home of the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. But they're going to have a tough hill to climb because they got to go up against the number one team in the country, the Indiana Hoosiers. We're going to preview that game on Friday night as well. And then hopefully Saturday or Sunday, we will have the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. That we're going to talk about that first TNA on AMC, the TNA debut. And then, of course, Friday Night SmackDown from London, England. And then 1 week from tonight, we do it all over again, Ridiculously Raw. Monday Night Raw, NXT. And I'll also have the results of the TNA Genesis pay-per-view. So that's it. So until Friday night, for the divisional playoff edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, this is Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, of course, always and forever, our First Lady, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed rest of your week. And until Friday night for NFL Friday, you have been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.